Well, and people like the sensationalization of things.
Yeah, I mean that's true. People tend to click on sensationalized titles, which, I mean, I think that becomes a problem because I'm the kind of person that I'm not going to sensationalize anything. I'm not going to make something up, except for maybe April 1st.
Oh, well.
But I'm not going to confirm or deny that yet.
I can either confirm or deny.
I won't make something up to try and get clicks, because if you're coming to my channel for a sensationalized headline and you want something that's going to be crazy and wild and me running around with the camera and scared out of my mind, you're not going to see that. Like, that's just not going to happen. I think I showed that very well with the first Mansfield Reformatory video.
People were screaming and stuff, and you're not doing any of that.
People were screaming in that.
And there was no reason to.
What's funny is when I talked to the volunteers that work there as we were getting ready to leave, I said something about that, and the guy was like, yeah, I think they've watched too much Ghost Hunters. And these are volunteers, they believe in ghosts. Like, they're there because they think it's haunted, but they don't like the sensationalized stuff. And I think you'll find that a lot of places, a lot of people that are serious about ghosts and about the paranormal and supernatural and that kind of stuff, if they're serious about it, they most likely hate those shows.
Yep.
And the YouTube channels. You know, I know I've talked before in the Ghost or Not Real video. I actually talked about the Sam and Colby. I don't know if you've ever seen them.
No.
The Sam and Colby, TFIL, they're a couple of big channels on YouTube. You've probably been suggested one of their videos at some point, whether you've clicked on it and watched it or not. Sam and Colby especially, but TFIL does too. They'll sensationalize things. It's fun to watch. TFIL's changed a little bit. They've gotten more serious about it, but they still kind of play up some of the drama. That stuff, for a lot of people, it's fun to watch if they believe in it. For me, I don't enjoy it, and it's because of the fact that I don't have those experiences that like you have.
Right. Well, I don't enjoy those either, not because, your reason, but because they are just sensationalized,
Hogwash?
Hogwash. That's the polite way of putting it, yes.
If I could use this to just zap them away.
If only. I mean, you could use it to bring me here, so maybe you could.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to get you back.
Yeah, well, I'll just walk.
That might be a problem.
It's okay. It's only like a 4-week walk. It's good.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll be fine. No problem at all. No, there's another one, post-graduation from high school. There was an abandoned house on the way there. You weren't here for this one. I think that's when you were in the military.
Yeah, I think I was.
I think so.
Yeah, probably.
So I was driving with Dallas and, a couple other people, and we went to this house, and I parked in a neighborhood across the street from it because I didn't want anyone to know I was going there. We snuck over, cars going by, we'd hit the dirt so no one saw us, and we broke in. Of course we did. There was a skeleton in the basement, by the way, of a raccoon.
Nice.
A chained up raccoon in the basement that was dead. Wonderful. So we went all the way up to the attic. All right, and we explored the whole thing. Nothing's there. We start coming downstairs. We hit the third floor, because this was 4 stories tall.
Right.
Hit the third floor, went down again. We were on the third floor again.
Maybe you just mistook where you were.
Oh, no, we went back up. They were identical. And
So does the second floor look like the third floor?
No, the second floor had a hallway with bedrooms. The third floor is open.
So you went back up and down
Just to check.
multiple times.
And then we went down again, and we were back on the second floor. And then we went back to the first floor, and we go outside like...
I'm just imagining that painting with the staircases going out.
That's kind of how it felt. It's like, what is this? I mean, I've had weird experiences like that. It's like, this doesn't make, like, glitch in the Matrix kind of stuff.
Yeah, and like, some of that stuff is kind of freaky, and there's other videos that will talk about that kind of stuff. But, like, to me, to have those glitch in the Matrix moments where you're just like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. Like
Right.
Deja Vu.
Well, Deja Vu is a
example.
really good one.
Like, you're like, okay, I've been here before. Something's familiar about this. Like, and it's not unusual to have those kind of things. I mean, I've had that feeling before, the deja vu feeling. Like, to have something where you're like, okay, this doesn't make sense. Usually, if I wind up in a situation like that, I'm just lost. Like, I've gone in the wrong direction or something. I did that at the Mansfield Reformatory. I walked a couple of times, like, okay, I think I'm on the second tier. Oh, wait, no. This is the second tier. I was on the third tier. Like, it gets confusing.
Well, in Mansfield Reformatory, there's a good reason for that. It's all the same.
Yeah, it looks...
It's really confusing.
Yeah, it looks the exact same on every floor.
But this one, they tore that house down, by the way. It's no longer there.
Oh wow.
But
We can't even go.
I know, it sucks. It was so strange because I'm like, what is up with this? And when we go outside, you can see there's only 4 floors, and when we went up, we didn't see that same floor twice. There's only one staircase.
Maybe you miscounted the floors. Maybe there was 2 third floors.
Floor 3 and floor 3 again.
Exactly. 3A and 3B.
So I guess I do get to have more of the interesting stuff in my life. You're stuck with the boring, mundane life of not seeing things.
I
and,
know. I don't get any fun. Like, I try. I've
You
gone
gotta-
ghost
you gotta
hunting
have-
plenty of times.
You have to have at least one more experience. I have plenty. I can talk all
Well,
day.
that's why I'm hoping, and some of the things I have planned for the channel here is like actual paranormal investigations in places like the Mansfield Reformatory, the Waverly Hills Asylum.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one. But yeah, like there's a few places I want to go that are actual haunted places, and to try to have something, because I would love to have an experience like that. I mean,
Yeah.
at the Mansfield Reformatory, I was literally telling ghosts, push me, do something, give me an experience.
They don't like you.
Well, and that's the thing, is like, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. So if you're a hardcore believer, and you're scared of it, and you don't want it to happen, all of a sudden it happens. If you don't believe, and you're prodding and egging on, nothing happens.
And that's because the mindset you put yourself in, too. A lot of times people get that
Right.
because they want it to happen.
Right, and that's the thing, is like, if you're at the point where you believe, then you wind up in a situation where everything is going to be, any little slip up or anything is going to wind up being, it's a ghost. And that, from a scientific perspective, that doesn't work. Like,
Right.
you can't really say, this happened to me and I believed it beforehand, so it must be true.
Right, and then what is a ghost? Even if you say it is a ghost, what is a ghost at that point? You can go off a tangent on that.
Right. Yeah, I went on a tangent. I have a whole video on that.
Right. I remember when we went to, was it North Dakota or South Dakota that had that mental hospital?
Oh, it was in North Dakota. Yeah.
And you had that creepy feeling you were being watched
Yeah.
the whole time.
I wish you would have found the. So,
Oh, I want to find it.
so a little background for this. So I went up with, was it 2000? It was a couple of years ago.
I think it was 2018.
2018.
Yeah.
So I went up to, me and him went on a little road trip. He lives in Minnesota, so I picked him up, and then we drove through North Dakota, South Dakota. I don't think we hit Wyoming.
I think we did. We went through a little bit of Wyoming.
Okay.
Because we had to get a geocache.
That's right. Yeah. So in North Dakota, though, we stopped at, there's a old insane asylum up there. I don't even remember the name of it.
Do you still have the video of that?
No.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, it's a long time ago. I didn't keep the video.
Yeah, I had an iPhone back then, that's why I don't have the photos anymore.
But-
I'm trying to find them.
So we stopped, and this place was massive, and it's out in the middle of nowhere. And when we showed up, there was nobody else there when we showed up.
At the time, yeah.
And so we get out of the car, and we're walking up into this place, and as we're getting in the front, like there's this big entryway, and we walk in, and we're looking around and stuff, and we start to hear voices. And we think we're losing our minds.
Yeah, we thought we were going a little bit crazy.
And we walked around a little bit, and then looked outside, and this family had pulled up in a car, and there was like 6 of them, 5 or 6
There were
people.
2 cars.
There were 2
They came
cars?
in 2 cars, and they all come out, and we're just like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So there's a bunch of other people that showed up. So we greet them, and we're talking to them and everything. It's a family. They got some kids and whatnot, so we know they're not like criminals or something crazy. I mean, they
Well,
could have been, I
hopefully not,
guess.
yeah.
But so we talked to them for a few minutes, and they're there for the same reason we are. So they go off in their own direction, and we go off in ours, and we go down in the basement. We're checking it all out, and it's supposed to be like super haunted. And the whole time, like, we're not really feeling a whole lot. Like,
Well, you felt like something was there. I didn't feel it. I was like,
I felt
okay.
a little bit creeped out, especially in the basement, but not to the extent where I was like, oh my god, I have to get out of here.
The only creepy feeling I had in the basement was, if a rabid raccoon comes out and bites me.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
But so we start walking through one of the wings, and as we're walking through I start to feel kind of like nauseous. And I can't really explain it accurately, but I felt like I just wanted to get out of there.
Well, we heard a noise, too.
And, well, we thought we heard a noise. And as we were walking out the door, I was recording on my phone. And we walk out and we get to the bottom of the steps and I hit stop on the recording. And then I hear a laugh. And I'm like, what was that? And he heard it too. So we both heard it clear as day. And at the time I'm like, that's so weird. What the hell was that noise? And didn't think another thing about it. Well, then you told me you snapped a picture accidentally of somebody.
Yeah, there was some homeless dude living in there. So it was at one of those blue doors. And it was like that much open. and he's at the bottom. His face is there. You can see it. It's not really clear because he's in the dark.
Right.
But you can see, his eyes, his cheeks. You can't really see his mouth because he's too far back. But you can see his eyes and his cheeks, and you can see that he's leaning, looking.
Yeah. So, like, turns out there was somebody, and that's been always my biggest concern with exploring abandoned places, and the reason I don't do that anymore.
That's why I brought a knife.
But the reason I don't do that anymore is because of situations like that, where you can wind up running into a person. Like, I'm more worried about running into a person than I am about a ghost.
Well, and that's the thing. When you explore an abandoned place, you're supposed to announce your presence first. So if anybody homeless is there, they're living there, don't want you in, they can tell you.
Right.
Because if you don't, then, yeah.
Obviously.
I mean, I watch people who explore abandoned places all the time on YouTube, and I've seen a few who've run into homeless people who were asleep.
Right.
And they got terrified because the homeless guy was scared, they were scared, and everyone screams, and it's like, sorry, we didn't mean to intrude.
Yeah, I've seen that happen before. I've also seen a video where one of the guys that I watch, he's an urban exploring channel. And he explores a lot of different places, and one of the places he was exploring, I don't know if you've seen this video or not, you might have like a top 10 list or something, but he's exploring the place. He's not a ghost hunting channel. He doesn't do anything with ghosts. He's just checking the place out. And he doesn't even notice it at the time, but in the video, you can see the shadow of a person in the doorway as he's turning a corner, and you just see this door open.
Oh, I've seen that.
And there's light shining on the door from behind it in the room, and you see the shadow of a person that's moving and getting out of the way. And he didn't notice it at the time. After he noticed it, he was like, I'm not going back there.
Screw that.
But yeah, those kind of things happen all the time. That's why, like, I maybe I don't experience a lot of this stuff because I don't go to places like that. But then again, if you go to places like that...
Well, you've been to a lot of places I've been that I've experienced stuff, and you just haven't had that kind of luck.
Right. And like you said earlier, it might just be something to do with how we... what we believe or how we believe it or whatever, a predisposition of some kind.
Right.
But, yeah, that's... To me, I wish... Like, I kind of wish I could go back to the days that I did believe, because everything was creepier then.
It tends to be.
I mean, I used to read stories. This Ohio Legends and Tales series is based on the fact that I used to read a lot
Haunted
of these...
Ohio book.
Haunted Ohio. Yeah, it's a good one. I used to read the urban legends and Haunted Ohio and that kind of stuff. And these stories were so creepy, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that's true. Now I look into it, and I'm like, okay, that's not true. Which is why I started doing Ohio Legends and Tales, to talk about some of those things, just because I want, if you're going to be scared of something, if you're going to be worried about something, make it into, find out more about it, learn more about it, you won't be as scared. A lot of these urban legends and stuff,
they're perpetuated because people go in there with the mindset of fear to begin with.
Right, they're already afraid to begin with. If you learn the true history behind a lot of it, and a lot of times look at my Hatchet Man. If you haven't seen the Hatchet Man video, watch that one. That's a perfect example. The actual history behind the Hatchet Man is more terrifying than the legend. And the legend, for a lot of people, is terrifying. So
that's a case where you'd be more scared when you research it and go in.
Right, you find out the
so
truth.
maybe don't research that one.
Well, it's already up there. So watch the video.
Yeah, watch the video. He already did it for you. He'll do the painstaking part. You just got to watch the stuff.
Exactly.
You can't tell me you've never had another experience other than the security guard. Surely you've had something at some point in our youth.
I mean, I've had experiences with, like, hearing things, but I've never had an experience like that.
Okay, well, the same house, that same toy room up in the attic area, there was sometimes something in there talking.
Raccoon.
Well, besides him. And he was the security. No, so I had a bedroom in there once with our little brother.
In the attic?
No, not in the attic, next to the attic.
Oh, okay, the room
Right.
with the staircase and the...
The walk-in closet,
Yeah,
the staircase,
okay.
and all that. And we heard something kind of pawing at the walls and saying, "Let me out." You never heard that?
I never heard that.
Really? Yeah. That attic was really creepy to me.
I mean, is it possible that maybe some of that stuff, like, you heard something and it
Well, yeah,
sounded
your brain.
like...
Yeah, when you're little, your brain can make those things happen.
Right, well, because...
I'm just wondering if you ever heard it, because
I
I'm
never-
trying to find out what you've gone through when you were young.
I never heard it. I know firsthand how my brain works, because, like, when I was a kid, little kid, but before we even moved from Columbus, when we were really little, we lived in a house, and I had nightmares of a big, giant green spider.
Oof.
My brain, as a kid, was seeing these little, the little tiny green ones with the bright green
Yep, I know.
abdomens.
I've seen them.
Like, those are tiny. But my kid brain
thought they were large.
blew this up into this gigantic spider, and I had multiple dreams about that. It was so weird. But like, so as a kid, and that's why like any experience that I had as a kid is easier for me to say that was imagination, that was just my brain playing tricks on me, or hearing a noise that I thought,
Well, there's a good example of that when we were kids and we shared a room, you and I. It was that same room that you were in the whole time.
Right.
We had the fan going one night, and we thought we heard people outside singing Ring Around the Rosie because the way the fan was moving,
Yeah.
it was like a whispering ring. And so we called for Mom and Dad, and they turned the fan off, and then there goes
And
the
it
noise.
stopped,
It's gone.
right.
Yeah, so as kids, you can do that.
Right.
So that's why I'm wondering if you ever experienced something that you could at least, give to the viewers.
Well, do you remember? And people play tricks on you too. You remember when Mom and she had a couple of friends over, and we were whistling out the window, and somebody was whistling back, and we thought it was just so cool. We couldn't figure out who it was, and then we heard them start to laugh, and it was the whole group of adults down there underneath our
screwing
window,
with us.
whistling back at us and laughing about it. And I'm like, really?
Well, that's what you do as a parent.
I mean,
You
yeah,
mess with the kids.
But yeah, but those kind of things happen too. And if she hadn't told us she was doing that, damn well,
We would have believed it
we
was
would have
something.
grown up thinking it was a ghost or somebody else in the neighborhood.
Which it could have been somebody else. We knew some crazy people, so it
We
could have been
did,
somebody
but
else.
like those kind of things happen too, even whether on purpose or by mistake. So that's where like experiences from our childhood.
You gotta
me-
really vet them.
Yeah, I over vet to the point of like, okay, most of the stuff that happened then at the time was bigger for me.
Right.
And now that I'm an adult, I can look back and I can explain it and I can say, okay, it wasn't what I thought it was. If I experience something now that's hard to explain, even the woman I was a security guard, that's been 15 years ago.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's been
You're
forever.
getting old.
I know, right? But it's been a long time ago. So, for me, today to have an experience like that, I think would be a lot bigger of a deal for me, especially if it was something that I don't have an explanation for. I wouldn't necessarily jump to the conclusion it's ghosts or demons or whatever, but it would be nice to have something like that in a way that I couldn't explain, truly couldn't explain. Not just, I don't know what caused that, but truly, like, I have ways to try and figure it out, but I can't. There's no explanation that I can find anywhere for it. Because usually, even if I don't know at the time, I can figure it out.
Right. Well, like the ones that I have that are most memorable are the ones that I could visually see. All the auditory ones I can dismiss because there's one when we were living closer to school. We had moved from the really tiny house to the one where we lived in the basement, you and I.
Yeah.
And I thought it sounded like someone trying to get my attention out in the hallway. Well, it was the washing machine. So it's like, I went out there, I investigated, well, that's the washing machine.
was trying to get your attention.
Yeah, so it's like you can mishear things and think it's something else,
Right.
especially when you're by yourself and there's no one else around.
And it gets
can be creepy.
Right, exactly.
But then things I've seen, I don't think I ever told you this one where something was coming out of the wall in that dining room.
Well, you haven't told me that.
Okay, so I don't know if anybody here's played Silent Hill 4, The Room. If you ever seen that one, think of those things that pop out, it's just their torso, similar to that. But instead it was like more of a full body thing trying to reach out and then it just kind of disappear.
So
I've
what
seen
you're
stuff like
saying
that.
is you played Silent Hill before Silent Hill was a game.
Yeah, that's right. Before Silent Hill 4 was published, I saw it. No, so the things that I see visually, I have a harder time dismissing. Now, obviously there's explanations. That could be hallucinations,
Right.
could be fatigue, but I have a harder time because it's like I don't have the facts of was I really tired when I was seeing that. Was I really exhausted? The hardest one I have to dismiss is when my door was flung open because, the door was flung open.
Yeah. I mean,
And it was shut and latched. So that one, and it didn't open slowly, it slammed open. It hit the other door.
You mean Mom locked you in?
Well, she always did. Otherwise, I'd escape again.
We lived in the basement and then we were locked in.
It's like that time we crossed the roof to, you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We was
And our neighbor heard us.
told on us.
Yeah, freaking town.
I was up at the top. The way our house was, we had a roof that went out of our bedroom window. And it
Went
was
to
on
the other
back
bedroom.
porches of both, and we were in a duplex. So we climbed out of, I was more out the window, and I climbed up the roof, and at the top there's this flat part, and there's the two bathrooms that were up there.
Mm-hmm.
And I climbed up to the top, and I'm looking around, and I look over, and I see the hallway light come on, and I'm like, oh God. And I get back down the roof, and as I'm climbing through the window to come back in,
The parents come in.
my mom and dad come walking through the door. I got in
We got
so
we got
much
grounded
trouble.
for that one.
Oh yeah, that was
Really badly.
We did a lot of stuff we shouldn't have done.
We
when
tried to
were
climb out the
kids.
second story window with blankets tied together.
Oh God, yes.
I got down.
I was almost out.
Yeah, you almost got down. I got down, but you almost got down. Then we got caught again. Rambunctious
We
kids,
did
what
some-
can you say?
We did some terrible things as
We
children.
did. Another experience I had, which was a really interesting one, which I can explain this one away, but it was still interesting as a kid to see. It was when we were 4-H. We had gone out to a nature thing,
Right.
and we were kind of in little groups. I don't know if you were in that 4-H group or not.
I might not
I
have
think
been.
you were in the older
We
kids
went to
group.
the pool every day, so.
Yeah, you went to a different thing. Well, this was the one before the pool.
Oh.
For the littler kids. So you were in the pool one, I was in the smaller one. And we were at this little nature preserve, and in the forest, I see this, standing up bipedal dog man.
Bigfoot.
No, dog man. Like the Michigan dog man. And it's looking right at me. And one of the teachers comes up and she scares it away. Well, nowadays, when I'm older, I know dogs can stand on their hind legs. And some can even walk on their hind legs for a little bit.
Right.
So as an adult, I know that was 99.999% likely just a dog standing on its hind legs. But as a kid, you see that kind of thing, you get scared.
Right.
I was like, what the heck is that? That's a werewolf, right? 'Cause I didn't know what Michigan Dog Man was back then, so I thought werewolf.
It was before the pre-internet days.
The pre-internet.